Part of the recording. I'm sitting here with Cammie Nairn, and we're going to talk about NC reports this morning. So I'm hoping that you're able to see me or hear me. I can't see me. That's not going to happen. So if you could please raise your hand throughout within the webinar so I know if you can hear me or not. I'm here. I'm seeing some hands. That's awesome. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so this really is not going to be a walk through every report kind of webinar. It kind of is a show you where things are, give you some resources, and we'll talk about some things. So we're going to take questions as we go out through our morning. I'm going to show you a few things, and I think that's how we're going to kind of move through our couple hours this morning. So I'm going to start with my screen PowerPoint. The bit.ly is there. That also is in the chat. And is it in the handout, Cammie?
It'll be in the handout in about 3 minutes.
Okay, so it will also be in the handout as a PDF. Or you can just follow along and grab it afterwards. I am recording this, so the recording will be posted later this week. I can't promise it'll be today or tomorrow, but it will get there. Let me get to where I need to be. All right, so as we just get started, I'm going directly to the NC DPI report list. So in order for you to find all of these reports on your start page from within PowerSchool, under reports, you can click System Reports, and then the tab called NC DPI Reports. And that's how I got to this particular page. So this has obviously a lot of information in it. The cross LEA reports, that stuff is coming to fruition. So as we move along with our cross LEA, those reports are going to be there for us to use. The link I gave you at the bottom of this particular page takes you to a reports guide. So even if you don't have access to all the business owners, this will take you through the names of the reports and kind of what they do and what they talk about. So that is a very good guide just to help you along. If I move now to the state reporting dashboard. So that is its own tab within System Reports when you go there. And this lists everything that on the state reporting side of the world. So right now, at the school level, you have the ability to have some reports hidden that you may not need to see, or maybe you don't need to run this particular year. So right now, this is what it all looks like if you have everything enabled. And I'm going to show you how to hide these. So if you're a data manager or you're an LEA coordinator, this will be something that will be useful for you. So there's two ways to do the hiding. So the first one, I'm going to start at the LEA level. And under LEA, it's under schools, school info. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, underneath the other information panel, you will see a state reporting dashboard and then a link that says ShowHide Collections. So if you click that link, the other little picture at the very bottom, this little one, shows you all of the reports. And at the LEA level, you can say, do you want it to be displayed or do you not want it to be displayed by choosing from the drop-down yes or no. And then you would click Submit at the bottom. So this is doing it from the schools info page. The other way is under System Reports, the state reporting dashboard. So this is where we just were. And when you're looking at all of the reports, if you see the triangle on the left-hand side, if you click the drop-down next to one of the reports, so this is the CRDC Preview Part 2. So once you open that triangle, you'll be able to see whether you want to, I'm sorry about that little black line there, go away. You'll be able to choose whether you want to hide it or show it. So you're going to click a link, ShowHide Collection from Schools, it's in red. And then on the left-hand side, this particular box now says, from which school do you want to hide this report from? So that's kind of two different ways to go about it. I can do it by report, or I can go back and use step one. So once you say whether you want the report to be hidden or not, by choosing it from the drop-down, you're going to click Submit. How are we doing with hiding stuff? Any questions about hiding?
Looks like we're good so far.
All right.
So this is good at LEA level, so you can like hide your program schools, or if you're a high school, your graduated student school, so that it doesn't look like you need to approve reports for those schools.
Right. Good point, Cammie. Thanks. She's my straight man. Okay, state reporting dashboard. So what I just wanted to show you here is some of the collections that are due between now and the end of December. So we have the final grade data verification. That's probably already been due, but I just thought I'd throw it there. So your first month PMR, the retention promotion is due in October. Dropout is in November. Your second month of PMR, your fall AIG headcount. Your SAR is due in December, and then there's a common follow-up at the end of December. So I just put some of the business owners' names here. A couple of them are a little bit different. So the SAR now belongs to Penny May. The GDV is now with Doris Kitts and Rosalind Galloway. Dropout is Mike Anderson. He is the new Dr. Gaddis. So Mr. Mike is there for dropouts and discipline. AIG is Stephanie Cyrus. Just want to give you a little bit of that information. Okay, let's get into a little bit of nitty-gritty stuff. So as an example, so your first 10 days, you may want to do a paper attendance roster. So I'm just going to kind of show how you could go through and get that within Power School. So we know it can get done through PTG or PT Pro, but I'm doing it through Power School itself. So to navigate to this area, you're going to go under System Reports, and if you scroll down under the Student Listings panel, there's one called Class Rosters PDF. And if you click that, you will see these 4 pages are broken up. This is really all of the reporting options, your criteria before you actually submit the report. So if you look at it, it asks you for a lot of things. You can print it for 1 or more teachers by highlighting the teachers in that first box. If you want to look at all of the meeting times, the periods that things meet, you could leave it all blank. If you just want to print it for your first period classes, you could just choose those boxes under the period. And then we're going to get into actually who the students are and all of the little details about how you want the page to look. So we actually have to tell it everything. So you need the heading, you need the font. What font do you want it to look like? What is the size of that font? What do you want to print? Where do you want to print the heading on? And then the actual fields of what you want to print in the heading. So let me go to the next screen. And this particular page is the second portion. So I'm actually choosing all of the students who are currently enrolled in class. You can have other options here that you can say, I want them enrolled as of the first day of school or any time in between. So you have a lot of options there. I'm choosing the Times font, and I chose it to be 18. And behind this page, you can make it bold and underline. There's little check boxes there. Print heading on. I chose the first page of each class because that kind of makes sense because every class is going to be on its own page. And then in here, it wants you to put what fields, what do you want to be on the heading. So at the top of every page, I want to print the teacher, colon, and then the name of the teacher, the course, and then the name of the course, the period, and then when it meets, and then the total number of students. So that's in my heading. Obviously, you can choose the little fields link, and you could look up other fields of information if you wanted to see that. The columns, so now we've done with the heading, now we're going to deal with the column of information that we want to see. And I chose it to be Helvetica. I chose it to be a font size of 12. And I want to print the column title on every page. So I'm going to go to the next screen. So when I get to the roster columns box, this is what my columns of information has to be. So it's actually asking you, it tells you what the format needs to be. So the first thing you put in is the name of the field. So this, in this particular case, my field name is last first. So it's going to be the name of the student, last comma first. And then you have to put the slash, and you can put the name of the column heading that you want it to be. So I just wanted to say the word name. And then you have to put another slash, and you can say how wide do you want this column to be. So I put 1.75 inches. And then one more slash, I wanted it to be left justified. So actually I could make my last name, first name left justified, and then all the rest of these C for centered if I wanted it to be centered. So these are my other 4 columns of information I want to see. And you put them each on their own line. So you put a carriage return at the end of each line. You put I'm not having a field in front of this. So there is no student name, or there isn't any grade level last name. So there is nothing there. So I just put the slash. I'm starting with the column title. So my column heading is going to be day 1. And I want it to be 0.70 inches, and I want it to be left justified. So my second column, I want it to say day 2. But I'm not putting any data information in there. It's just going to be a column heading. So don't forget to put all those slashes in. So this will give me a 5-day attendance roster with just 5 blank columns. I'm giving it the rules, my horizontal, my vertical margins. I'm telling it if I want it to be a letter or legal sized. I want it to be a portrait versus landscape. That's up to you. And then you're going to submit the report. So are there any questions about how to set up a class roster PDF report? Because it does ask for some really intricate stuff. You really have to know the size of your paper and where you want to physically put things on that piece of paper.
All right, so no questions
No.
so far.
Okay, then I think you guys need more coffee.
So this I used as a data manager for my first 10 days roster that we handed out to our homeroom teachers. Depends on how you're doing your first 10 days at your school. If teachers are in PTG, they can, of course, run attendance rosters. PT Pro, they can there too. It's just a little more effort in PT Pro right now, but you can run a roster there too. But this is a way for the data manager to run one.
Correct. I know that we've been trying to get you guys to have the teachers do more work, but this is also a way that you guys can run it ahead of time. All right, hearing none, I'm continuing on. So here is, these are sample mailing labels. So you get there a little bit differently than your other reports. So when you get to the System Reports tab, there is a tab called Setup. And once you click Setup, there is a link for mailing label. And this particular training database that I'm sitting in has these labels already created for me. So there's a 5160 that has the name of the student, their student number, their grade level, and their homeroom. The one at the very bottom shows the student's web ID and their web password. So you can hand those out to kids. So there's a lot of different mailing labels. There is a parent of mailing label. They all fit on the Avery 5160 labels. I could do a student mailing label, a separate one. It looks a little bit different than that. There's information cards. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. So the two samples that I put at the bottom is, actually it's the very top one. The label's 5160. There's a picture. Grade 2 homeroom is John Doe. The student's name is Minnie Mouse, and the student number is listed. And the other one I did is to the parent or guardian of. So I put those in regular text, to the parent or guardian of, and then I had the student's name and address listed. So there's all different kinds you can use. If there's anything here that you see that you don't have back in your live data area, send me an email and I can export these that you see right here as a template, and you could import it into yours and utilize them.
Okay. Can we navigate to ncsys.org and show them where the PST files live?
Sure, we have PST. So let me get to the NCSys website. So let me change.
So these are files. If you're a new school and you don't have these in your system yet, you either have to create them or import them. DPI does have some samples, but of course you've got to set them up to match your school. So Jackie's going to navigate, and it's at www.nc-sys.org. And I can't remember if it's /PST or I just search in the search box for .psts.
Okay, so I'm here in ncsys.org.
So yeah,
I'm trying to get, there we go. So on this main page, if I go to the search criteria area, the search box,
just do PS.
I can do PST, and I'm going to click Site Search. And it says Reporting Template.
Yep, that's it.
So I'm going to click that, and if I click it, it will actually take me there. So as I scroll down, you should be able to see different templates that you are allowed to grab and import.
Yeah, and if you look under the form, letters, and mailing labels, there's instructions on how to import those. And there's some that you can import. And again, if you email Jackie and I, we can also send you some instructions and the PSTs for the ones you see on the screen.
Okay, so there are a lot here. I'm just going to kind of scroll down.
So the bottom ones are ReportWorks reports, and we really aren't going over ReportWorks reports today. The .pst is when you do have those, it is kind of like an Outlook file, but don't open them in Outlook. They just need to be imported into PowerSchool. And then open under the setup, under the mailing labels. I don't know.
All right,
if
so
you want
let's
to
see if we
actually
can do
navigate
that.
there.
So instructions for importing the mailing labels.
So that's the PDF.
That's the PDF on how to look at it. I'm going to click on the cumulative labels. So that is a PST. I'm clicking on that link, and it's going to download it automatically for me. So it's at the bottom in my downloads folder. And if you see that it says PST, but if you look at the little picture next to it, the little picture looks like an Outlook because it believes it to be an Outlook file. So as long as I know where it's going to live, I can then go into Power School and do a quick import of that template. So I'm going to take you there next. So let me get over to okay, so now I'm in Power School. I'm sitting at the LEA level, so I probably want to go down to
System.
I'm going on the left-hand side. I'm going to go to LEA. Is it under System?
I was just going under Special Functions.
Oh, she always does it a different way. I can do that.
Either way.
So under Functions at the top, she goes to Special Functions.
Third page and Data Management under there.
So there's importing and exporting.
That's it.
I'm going to click Import, Export. I'm waiting for it to there. Okay, awesome. And if you notice, the options are Quick Import. It will tell you tables, information that you want. I can import using a template, templates for import. I'm actually going to do a quick import. No, I'm not. That's not where it is.
No, it's for the...
No, it's not. I lied. No, it
Template.
is,
Guess we should read the instructions, Jackie.
I guess I should have.
It's been a while since we've done this.
Apparently. All right, so I'm wrong. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at the instructions because I have forgotten. So there's my PDF. Import report templates. It's under System.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, back under System because I'm crazy. I'm a crazy lady. Reports. There we go. Import report template. Import report template. I need to choose the file. And I found it in my downloads. And I'm going to choose cumulative labels. Even though it says Outlook data file, I know it's not. And then I'm going to click import as soon as I get this out of my way. And the mailing label has been created and it says cumulative label. So I'm going to click back. I'm going to go back to my start page. I'm going to go under System Reports because that's where all of the reports live. I'm going to go under Setup. And under Setup, I'm going to go to Mailing Labels on the left. And I should see one now that says Cumulative Labels. So if I click on Cumulative Labels, it has already given me all of the information I need. The size, the margins, the label width. And if you look at it, I'm hoping you can see it. It's going to print the student number, their last name, first name, their grade level, their gender, their homeroom, a course, the grade level for the course, the earned credit hours, and GPA, and then the credit that they're going to get. And then I forgot what DABS is, but it's going to do all of that.
Daily absences.
That's right. So what I want to talk to you about is make this label accessible. So you can say, make this accessible to all my users at all my schools, or I can say, only let my users that have access to the LEA office have access to it. So you can, depends on who you want to be able to view it. And then the other box is, do you want the teachers to be able to print a cumulative label? Obviously, it's not one that they really would want, but if you created a student mailing label, you may want the teachers to have the ability to print it, so you could check that box. And then you'd click Submit, and it would actually have the template there for you.
If you guys are doing like the back to school reports and you need a homeroom to pull, this homeroom field, home_room, pulls from a field on the student. It is not going to pull the class of homeroom. It pulls the field of homeroom, and that's under a student. On their other information page, there's a field there for your homeroom codes.
Awesome. Okay, so I kind of went a little bit out of the way to do that, but I think it's an awesome thing to do, to know how to grab a template, grab a label that's already been created, and we want you guys to have as much stuff as you can. So I'm going to go back.
Yeah. So if you guys have any specific questions on specific reports, let us know. We can also go on the live site and look at the links for system reports and the tabs across there if you want, or we got some other slides we got to look at.
Yeah, we do. Almost lost it there for a sec. All right, let me go on, and then we'll come back and kind of look at all kinds of other stuff.
Sounds good.
So another simple one that I kind of pulled up for you is historical transcript. And to navigate to this, it is found under the NC DPI Reports, and it's under the North Carolina Specific Report panel, and it's called Historical Transcripts. So, Kimmy, do you want to talk about where these are coming from?
So these are transcripts of students that were not migrated into PowerSchool. So if a student came to your high school and said, I need a copy of my transcript, can you print it for me? Or you might need to send them to the county office. I don't know what's in place in your district, but if they're requesting a transcript, they do not currently live in the graduated student school in PowerSchool. Their data is older than 2013. So here's where you could go to print their transcript. You're going to need to at least know their last name, and it helps to have other information of their gender. Are they male or female? Do you have a date of birth? And do you have a student number? They don't always remember that student number or have a paper with it on it. So this is where you could search for those. And it does work well. You do have to give it time to run sometimes, but give it time to pull up some names. So it won't work in our training database because it doesn't connect to whatever server this information lives on.
Cool. Thanks, Kimmy.
You're welcome.
All right, a little bit about the military stuff. So these are reports that are available for you, and they are found again under the NCDPI reporting tab, the 4 that are listed in that first box.
I'm going to stop just a minute, if you don't mind.
Yep.
So Sheila had a question about how far back do these transcripts go. Sheila, I'd have to ask Betsy Boggs, but I'm assuming it's all the data from NCYs and SIMs. I'm not quite sure how far back it goes, but if we do have issues with you trying to pull up somebody you know should have a transcript, then we can ask Betsy to look and see if that data is in there. You're welcome.
All right, military stuff. So what I've included here as far as reference material, this first link is a sample letter of what one looks like, and I'll jump into these in just a bit. The military, there was a PowerPoint done back in January of 2017, and good friend Cammie presented that PowerPoint. So it has been posted now on ncsys.org, so you will find it under Documents and Presentations, and it is the PowerPoint that she did back in January, so it's a good reference for you. And the recording of that webinar is also found in ncsys/recordings. The other link I gave you is for a QRD, and that is also found on NCSys under Documents, Student_info/ ps/PowerSchool_QRD_military. So PS_QRD military. So I'm hoping that stuff will work well for you. I'm going to click on the QRD. Awesome. So it just gives you information about how to locate military sections. It gives you, there's 8 pages of it, and it does set it works from version 9.2, but there really hasn't been version 10 changes, so it should be fine for what you need to do. So just kind of give you a quick preview, a quick peek at it. I'm just going to shut that window down. The webinar, this is the PowerPoint to the PDF. I'm going to click on the sample letter. So this is a sample that some of the schools are using. Dear parent or guardian, blah, blah, blah. It gives you another requirements for the law. This is another example, relationship, Army, active duty, E4 at Fort Bragg. So just kind of information. Second page has the student name.
So this is good to have in probably your back to school packet for your kids. This and the military recruitment yes or no from parents is good to include in your first day of school packet for those students and parents to fill out. This data has to be in by January. I want to say.
Let's go back and look and see. Yeah.
And then I know the DPI is going to pull military recruitment the yes or no this year, so we have to make sure that's in correctly for everybody. And there will be a communication going out in the next week or two about military recruitment. Right. So military.
So there isn't anything done. If there isn't anything really due in December, so it's got to be after December 31st at some time.
Yep.
All right. Let me get back to where we were. All right. We talked about historical, military. So this is a little bit about the DAR, the Diploma Assessment Report. It is found under System Reports under NCDPI Report tab. It'll actually show you if a student has completed their requirements. So the first thing you need to do is select a group of students. So you have them in a selection. And you can export, you can sort, you can filter, all of that stuff. And just some of the verbiage, some of the vocabulary you might need. The asterisk indicates an override has been entered on the academics page, and the plus sign indicates the student is scheduled in courses that will complete the requirements. So they're currently scheduled in those courses. So that's just kind of information about when you're running that DAR, what it looks like.
So this is one counselors like you would want your counselors to run at a high school. So you want to walk them through some links?
I'm definitely going to walk you through some links. So this particular last page is kind of where I always end up before I get into some walkthroughs and some questions and answers. But we're asking everyone to put all of their questions through Remedy, please, in the portal. This is really the only way we can track where the problems lie. So if we get 3 or 4 Remedy tickets on the same topic, then we know where we have to go and work a little harder, get you more information or whatever the case may be. So I know it is sometimes a little bit harder for you to take those extra steps to create the ticket, but it really helps us to track where the problem issues do lie. So I really would appreciate that you do that. On this particular page, there is a video and a PowerPoint on how to create a good data-filled ticket. So that will help you as well. Okay, so let's go back and look at some stuff. I'm going to take you back into PowerSchool, so I'm going to change my screen. And hopefully you'll see that. Okay, so now there are the different tabs that I was talking about. The state reporting dashboard, where we can hide some things that we don't need to see.
And the screen was blinking. Can you tell them again how you got to this page? It was blinking while you were getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, see, it keeps turning black for some reason.
I don't understand. All right. So how did I get there? This is my start page. I'm going to click on the left-hand side. I'm going to click System Reports. All right. Looks like everybody can see it now.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm sitting in the System tab, these reports are either out-of-the-box PowerSchool or reports that have been North Carolinaized to fit your needs. So the very bottom of this particular tab is where we saw the class rosters under the student listings panel. And this is the at-risk is here. If you want to look at a master schedule, or I can do a student schedule listing report. So I'm just going to click on the class rosters really quick because I want to make sure that you saw where it was that it lived. So this is where I can choose the teachers that I want. I can decide when they were enrolled. So I chose any time between the 16 and 17 school year. I chose my heading, my font for my heading, what I wanted to show as far as the heading fields. And this is how I wanted my columns of information to look. And then I could submit that. All right. I'm going to use my breadcrumbs and go back to two reports. And I'm back at my System tab. I want to look at the first group, which is your attendance reporting. And underneath this particular panel has reports that are good to use, like a student attendance audit. If you're going to have a meeting with your parents, like with a student, period attendance verification. There's a weekly summary kind of thing. So these are great reports to have. I'm going to keep scrolling down a little bit. If we get farther in our school year, you can do a class rank report. You can do a grade distribution report. But at the beginning of our school, you may want to run some of these next ones under membership and enrollment. Obviously, there's the school enrollment audit, which is good to definitely use to find out when kids have overlapping enrollments between you and another school or LEA. The section enrollment audit shows you information about if there are particular students that may be enrolled on day 1, but their classes didn't get scheduled till day 2. So there is a discrepancy there, so it would kind of help you with that. You don't want to lose any days of attendance because we know attendance is money, right? Okay. All right, I'm going to scroll all the way back up to the top. And I'm going to click on the Setup tab. So we have mailing labels here. There are form letters there. It keeps blinking. I don't know why though.
Yeah.
Mailing labels, That's good. Mailing labels, form letters, the object reports. So as we move into enterprise reporting and all of that stuff that's going to be happening, and the standard-based report cards, you might want to be looking at creating more object reports, or you may want to move directly into enterprise reporting information.
Yeah, and to learn how to do object reports, you can take classes at our symposium, which has a new name this year, CCES, and it's in March this year. We also, if you search our NCSIS site for Symposium 2017 presentations or Symposium 2016 presentations, you can find some of those past classes presentations out there to help you walk through object reports. So if you have somebody in your school system that loves to create reports, I would set them to work on the object reports and the form letters.
All right, I'm going to click the SQL 4. Okay, so this particular tab, SQL Reports 4, there's a lot of different categories, and so if you click on any one of the arrows, so if I click on one next to demographics, it'll show me 2 different reports. These are student contacts, part 1 and part 2. If you click the arrow again, it will close that back up. So there's some M-class reports, there's some PMR and SAR data validation reports. I think that would be excellent to run, especially every month when you have to do your PMRs.
And you run these by clicking on the title names. You should not have a need to click on the edit pencil over there.
Right. That edit pencil is to edit the actual report. To run it, actually click the link. Now, underneath all of the categories are just individual reports that aren't part of any other category. So you might want to find something here that might work for us. There's an activities list. So if you want a list of all of the activities a student is taking, is having, maybe you put all of your sports listed there. A special programs report. So I clicked on special programs. It tells me what that will do with a list of currently enrolled students with their school, the student number, name, grade, program, the date that they entered it, and if there is an exit date and the code.
Okay, so we have a question,
Okay.
whenever you're ready.
Sure.
So from Melanie, we are printing schedules under reports. In semester 1, the schedule report prints semester 1 and semester 2 schedules. However, when we run in semester 2 only, it pulls only semester 2. Is that in a setup, or is that the way it prints? So I guess, Melanie, I need your navigation a little bit better. It's under reports, she said.
Okay, so let me try and follow where you were. Under reports, so I'm going to go to system reports. Can you give me a little bit more detail as to how you got there?
Yeah, we need your navigation, Melanie. I didn't know if you're running the function for print reports or if you're actually under a tab called reports.
Are you opening up a student record?
So she could be, yeah, I'll give you a minute to type in that navigation, Melanie, and we'll get back to that question. But yes, and it could be depending on what term you have selected at the top of the page.
Right.
There's different things that affect some of those reports and how they run. And some of them do need the correct term at the top of the page for whatever you're trying to print.
Okay, so in the term at the top, we are in S1, then changed it to S2. Okay.
Okay. And then where did you go? So in semester 1, you ran the report for semester 1, but it's pulling both terms, it sounds like. So is this a report you guys created, or is this a report we have in the system. And just tell us what we should do. Should we pick a student and then go to print reports? There we go.
Special functions, group functions, print reports.
So probably select a student.
So let me go back and grab.
School level. Let's go to school level.
All right.
Yep. So she says choose a grade level first.
I'm waiting for it to get
So
started.
this sounds like a report that you guys might have created. So
there's a grade level. I chose a 7th grade. I'm going to go to special functions. I'm going to go to print reports.
that's group functions.
Oh, that was there. There we go. Thought I touched it.
So you could also navigate from the start page under the functions button. There it is.
Print reports. So here, I get to choose which report I want to print.
And
so I'm guessing you chose student schedules 1, or maybe, oh, actually, I'm in a training database, so I'm not even sure what you have.
These reports in here are pulling from your object reports and form reports and mailing labels. So we would need to look at how you have yours set up.
So just for ticks, I'm going to choose students' current schedules in my particular training database.
Are we in 17, 18? Because we don't have
I
any data.
Shoot. No, I'm not.
Okay,
I'm in 16, 17. So it says I can either print all records, I can just do the first 2 just in case I don't have it, I don't have it quite right, kind of as a test. I'm going to do it in alphabetical order. I want all the kids that are actively enrolled, all of their courses, and I'm just going to click submit. All right, so now I have the student schedule is running. I'm going to click refresh. Okay, I'm going to right-click my view and open it in a new tab. That way I can always go back to where I'm already looking. I'm going to click that second tab. And this is what this particular schedule looks like. So this particular object report does print both terms in this report. And that's because that's how the object report was written. So if, Melanie, if you could, maybe we can chat after, we can look and see which one in your live data. So if you could include your LEA number so that we can kind of look in your live stuff, we can work with you that way. That was a good, actually, a good thing for us to take a look at. So it was a good test. Will you email me and I'll send my setup? Is her question.
Oh, we can give you our email. And then, yeah, so custom reports we can take a look at when we can. So we do support those to a point. So we'll take a quick look. Hopefully somebody's on your staff that was trained in setting those up, but we can quickly see if you've got dates that need to change in there. Some of them were set up with dates, and you have to remember to go in and change those every year.
All right. I'm going to go back to my system reports. I'm going to click State Standalone Reports. These particular reports are dealing with AIG. So it actually tells you what, which one actually does what. I know we got a couple questions about charters. Do charters have to run these AIGs? So I have that question out, and I will find that answer out and put it in our question and answers when we get those posted as well.
right.
Is there any particular tab you guys would like me to talk through?
Your NCDPI reports, now those we should have some webinars coming up in September. We're going to get with all the business owners. We've already got the SAR webinars on the training calendar at NCSIS. We're working on getting a Zella day schedule for the PMR. And we have some other ones that we need to, Stephanie, we'll get with Stephanie, and she'll run that later in the year on the AIG, because we have the fall AIG head count will be coming up. So just watch for those on the training calendar. So we're in process right now of getting with our business owners and scheduling those for you guys. And those will be in much more detail on how to actually go through those reports. All right. All right.
Okay, so I don't want to go into the report card because a lot of people are running their own and they're not using the North Carolina traditional one or the North Carolina standards one. So I don't want to confuse people by just going into this, the DPI version of it, because a lot of people are not using it.
A lot of people? All right. Okay. And there should be QRDs out there.
There were definitely lots of stuff. So maybe we should go back to NCSIS and go through some of the stuff that's listed on NCSIS. So I'm going to go back and that's not the one I want.
All right, so we have about maybe 8 minutes left, because is this an hour webinar?
And I think it's listed for 2, but
Okay.
I don't think we really need 2 hours for this.
All right. So if we have any other specific questions that we can take a look at reports for you and try to get those either working for you, or let us know of any issues that you guys are having with the reports.
That's not what I wanted either. I need to go back to the other one.
There you go. NCSIS.
All right. So in NCSIS, there's different ways of getting to where we're going. So under reporting, in this blue area, there's reporting templates. And if you do it very carefully, you can get over here and get to your mailing labels and your object reports and report works, reports, and templates for export. If you know exactly what you're looking for, you can go over into your search box under the Google search and type it there. The training area, under training, there are presentations, there are the quick resource videos, and there are recorded refreshers. So here you should be able to find information that we did at the other symposiums, at different areas throughout the last couple summers. So if I click presentations, you should be able to see that there's the AIG process that you could look at, how you can look at accommodations in PowerSchool, and it goes on and on.
So there's a question from Dodie, and I'm trying to find that.
How do we run a report that only lists currently enrolled students that are missing military data?
All right, so that should be in the military connected PowerPoint that is linked in your slide.
There's military connected students, so I'm going to click that PDF. I'm actually happen to be sitting right there at it.
Let's see what page it's on.
It's actually the PowerPoint.
Searching Military Record Associations is on page 15.
Slide 15?
Slide, yeah.
Okay. So S_NC_military.connected_military.
Those are your field, that's your
That is
field.
the field.
And then 16 shows you how to search for who has no or who is missing the military connected identifier. So equals blank will find you're missing.
Right.
Equals 0 will mean they've been set to no, they're not military connected. And equals 1 means they've been set to yes, they are military connected.
Okay, hold on. So, Dodie, I hope that helps you. There's one from Marcia. I have an object report that pulls up attendance. When a student has a lot of attendance and the report needs to go to a second page, it will not. It just prints over what is there. How do I make an object go to a second page for the additional data? Okay, there's
a box, I think.
Yeah, there is in the actual object report, the building of it, there is a function that you can actually put in there to have it go to a second page. Marcia, I'll see if I can find that out. That might be a really easy one to put into the support desk, because there's a couple of people that are doing a lot of good report work, the object reports. But let me see if I can find that out for you and send it back to you. I'm going to close this particular window.
Yeah, in fact, I had created an attendance report for my school when I was a data manager, and I have that set up to print a student per page, so I could compare it to my report. But
their attendance goes to a second page. So one student's attendance.
Oh, they want it to go to a second page.
Yeah, it does go to a second page.
It needs to go to a second page.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I think I just made my font smaller. It doesn't fit it on one page. So, yeah.
That's fun. All right, I'm going to click on the accommodations report.
So you just wanted her to email you now, Marcia?
Yeah, I just need her email address and LEA so I can take a look, and the name of the report. So this accommodations report came up, and this is exactly what it shows. I didn't have any criteria that I had to use for that. Shows the person, their number, the grade, the LEP, the test is EOG for English Language Arts, and they need extra time. He also needs in a separate room, and he also needs a bilingual dictionary.
Excuse me.
So it's a good thing before you're running any kind of testing to run this accommodations report, and it'll help. So you can actually at this point either copy it out to Excel, you can open it up in comma delimited, or you can just print it. I'm going to use my breadcrumbs to go back. Just standalone I've been to already. There are some people that have, under the SQL 4 reports, they have a whole bunch of their own. I do know that when you're looking at scheduling reports, you can look at course request. So I know it sounds like we are so early to start thinking about next year's scheduling, but it actually still gives you a good sections report, so you can look at it and see what kids or what numbers you have. So it's not just for future scheduling, but it will help with current year stuff. Under testing, there's individual reports about testing scores for an individual student, cumulative record for all students and for an individual student. So let's try and do one for all. There is a question.
Yes, can you please share a template for object report for student schedule? And Sabrina Jean, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, but that also kind of depends on how your school is set up. So the number of periods, how many cycle days you have. There may be one on NCSIS. We probably have some that we could share, but it's going to need to be modified to fit your schedule. So I guess you want him to email or?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that we have an object report for student schedules that, there's not one that fits everybody.
Right. It's not a generic one because it has to be, right. You can modify it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'll see if I can find one on my training database and send it to you. So if I just need your LEA number and your email address, that'd be great. Did you like the one that I just showed you that had two different, I thought it looked pretty clear. I kind of liked it. I'm going to do a test scores, cumulative record. So when I clicked it, it's telling me what it's going to do. It's running at a school level. Let me make sure I'm at a school level. Okay. And I'm going to click submit. Oh dear. All right. It's running, and this is probably where I'm supposed to be doing a little bit of a dance, right? All right. So this is what it looks like, a test score cumulative record. So this particular student, 4th grade, 5th grade, 3rd grade information, student by student. If you wanted to choose a particular student number, you would click in this drop down and choose just the student you wanted. And it automatically filters just for that student. If you wanted to filter it by test name, you can say, let me see all of the reading achievement levels, and I can go back to student number so it will get them all.
There you go. That's clear.
If you wanted to do it just by the testing school, you can look at that, the testing date. So it's really is a very intuitive. You can pick and choose, and it's very generically created, so it's an awesome way to look at different test scores.
Is this one exportable, or do they have to copy in?
This is, well, you can copy it.
Oh, it is exportable.
Yep.
It's got CSV at the top.
You can CSV it, you can print it, you can put it in a tab, delimit it if you wanted.
There you go.
All right, I'm going to use my breadcrumbs and go back to SQL reports. CFDC, do we do this at the beginning of this term?
CFTC is not being pulled this year, but it doesn't hurt to check CFTC info.
Okay.
But it's not, it ran last year, so it's going to skip this year.
However, it is this year's data that you're going to be pulling
Yes.
for next year.
So you want to make sure it's right.
Yeah. So this is another awesome one because you can pick and change by all different kinds. Any of these fields that you see here, you can choose from, except for the ones obviously that are grayed out. So if I want to do the latest grade level, maybe I just want to see 8th grade. Maybe I just want to see for this particular middle school. And if you want to get rid of whatever you did, maybe you don't want to do it just for 8th grade. Did you see where I hovered over the number 8 and it put a line through it? If I click it, it will take it away. And if I want to put it back in, I just choose it again from the drop down. All right, awesome. I'm going to go back to my SQL reports. Let's look at a couple attendance reports because that's what we kind of do. There's a daily attendance report. It'll show the attendance for the day for a very specific date range. So I'm just going to do it for one day, and I'm going to click Submit. And this is great if you have to have someone else make some calls, if you're not using any kind of an electronic phone system. It'll tell you the date, the student, the grade level, what code it is, if there was a comment, the date they came in, or the date they came out, or both. I mean times, I'm sorry, not just dates.
All right. So I don't know if these hands have been up forever, but Amy, Self, and Levon, McLean, if you guys have questions, there should be a questions box in your webinar panel. I'm going to put your hands down. However, this is now the time, you guys, if you have any other question about reports, go ahead and get those in for us. You've had some good ones so far.
A student attendance report daily for all students. I'm going to show you how that looks different. I'm only going to do it for 1 week. I'm not going to do it for the whole time. Nope, I guess that's not going to work. Here we go.
September 2nd. Yeah. Jill, we are recording this webinar, so hopefully it'll be posted by the end of the week. I see that you guys are in session. Good, good. So I hope, sorry you had to miss part of the webinar, but it is being recorded and we will have it posted.
There's some demographic reports if you need student contacts. Exceptional children report.
Ashley, the screen will probably be blinking in the recording. I don't know why it's blinking so bad today. We're in a different room than we usually use. I don't know if that's the issue. So that's our technical difficulties right now. So we do apologize for the blinking.
You know, I don't see it blinking when I'm...
We see it. I see it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I apologize for that. I don't see it happening on my screen. Global language endorsement. Here's a historical grade. I'll try, if I move slower, it may be a little bit easier. So
Yeah, every time the mouse moves, the screen blinks.
I'm guessing that what we're probably going to be doing now, and maybe is your activities list. So you can see if you need to put all your kids in the volleyball or in the track and field or things like that, you can make sure that you have that listed.
All right, I don't have a question. Chris Fowler says he does not have the demographics or EC reports. Is this on the sequel page, Chris?
Yes, the sequel reports. So some of this could be from people writing their own. So when we grabbed this training database, we grabbed it from a particular area, and they may have created their own.
And then we also need to check and see if these are ones we created, and you should have them. So I guess we need to follow up with the ones that are creating those at DPI up here too. So Chris, I'm gonna have you email Jackie, and we'll check on that.
So period attendance reporting. All right, I'm going to go back to those SQL reports. So I'm going to look at a report, and I apologize for the black. I just don't understand that.
Yeah, and hopefully if it's not blinking on your screen, hopefully it won't be blinking in the recording, but it is blinking when we see it.
So do you want me to show you a meeting attendance report? This is showing you the meeting attendance for a very specific date range. So I can actually change it and just do it for one grade level or just one period. So if you do a meeting attendance, but you want to see second period only, I could just say second period, but you need to know how your schedule is set. So I need to know whether to put just a 2 or a 2A or with parentheses, stuff like that. So it has to be very specific. But if I just choose 1 month, actually, I'm going to just choose a couple weeks. And I'm going to click submit. So what you probably need to look at is once I have it here, so I did it for 2 weeks. What I think would be a great thing to do is to sort it by date and then sort it by period. So right now for August 30th, I should see all of my students in first period with whatever absent code they have. So I didn't choose just one grade level. I didn't choose one particular area. I just said, give me everything for those couple weeks. So I like this because you have the ability to sort by any of those column headings. So right now I did it descending, so I'm looking at my 9 days first. I could sort it by attendance code. So it'll show me all my 1s and my 2As. If I do descending, I look at my 2Ls. So it all depends on how you want to look at it. You might not always need to print it, but it's nice to be able to manipulate it once you see it on your screen. You can also obviously choose to sort it by period of your day. So that is a good meeting attendance report. If you do it by student number, you can then see whether a student was missing all periods of his day, or maybe he just decided to skip first period and go to second and third. So I think that's a good report to run. I'm going to go back to my SQL
That's also
report.
a good check for you daily attendance schools that should only be putting attendance in the homeroom bridge period to see if your teachers are putting attendance in those other periods.
Good point. There's also a student attendance report by student. So I'm going to click on the meeting, student attendance report meeting. So you can actually choose the student from the drop down. and choose the date range that you want to see. So if you think he was skipping some time in around Labor Day, you could just do the Labor Day area. And I'm going to click Submit. Okay, so there's no data available. So he obviously was in class because there aren't any non-present codes here. So seeing something blank is not a bad thing in all areas, especially in attendance. So we're only showing negative attendance, anything that is not present. Now, there are other reports for attendance as well. You don't have to be in the SQL reports to look at attendance reporting. I'm going to scroll over under Functions and click Attendance. And there are reports listed here. Teacher attendance submission status, so you could see what teachers are printing or what teachers are actually submitting their attendance. I could look at the absentee report for a particular day, and these are out of the box PowerSchool. These are not done specifically North Carolina wise as those SQLs are, but it does do a nice job with giving you an attendance count or consecutive absences.
So that teacher attendance submission status is good, especially when school's starting and throughout the year.
Yeah.
See who has taken attendance.
And it's really, you know, what I've always taught and in my training sessions is make them accountable. If they are not submitting their attendance, if they're supposed to be doing it by 9 o'clock or 9:05, I would run a report at 9:06. And it does have a date and a timestamp of when you run it. So if you run it and these teachers are listed, you can print it, give it to your administrator and say, look, they're just not taking their attendance in a timely fashion. And attendance is money, folks, so we want to try and get that to happen. So that's another way to utilize these reports, is to get it with a date and a timestamp so you know who's done what and when.
It's also legal, so if lawyers are checking on attendance for a student, there is the law that attendance has to be taken, and in that timely fashion. So It has to be in.
I know we're preaching to the choir. I get it.
All right, so it's about 20 after 10.
All right.
I think of anything else to show. And if you guys have, let's give you a couple more minutes for any last questions. And I think we can start to wrap up the reporting webinar. Think anything else, Jackie?
Not right now. Not at the beginning of this school year. I mean, obviously there are reports that deal with transcripts and, you know, report cards and stuff like that that we do along the time.
Yeah, when we have end of term, we'll show how to print report cards. I guess we can revisit our calendar out there and just make sure you guys are going to the calendar, signing up for any upcoming webinars.
All right, let's see if I can get back to NCSIS. So on your NCSIS page, if you click on the training, no, that's not it.
Yep, training calendar.
There it is. So there's the blue training and the calendar. Right now we have PowerSchool tomorrow, and Thursday we have managing attendance. Then one is daily and one is meeting. If you want to go, I don't know how much we have passed. Right now we have the SAR on the 14th in September. We have a year in PowerSchool. That is on the 7th, 2 different times during the day. So keep coming back here to this calendar because it will have more items listed as we go. We try and also post it in the weekly bulletin. So please be watching at the weekly bulletin as well. And cohort 1 folks for PT Pro, check your emails from Hunter on different things happening with that because he does all of that correspondence. All right.
All right, I don't see any other questions. You guys have already started back to school. Hope everything's going well. And those of you that are starting this week and next week, good luck, and I hope everything goes well for you too.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'm going to stop the recording.